I don't know. What do you think it weighs? I'm probably thinking right about 2,000 pounds. Somewhere right there. Well, let's find out. Make sure, yeah, everything's plugged up, everything's out of the way. All right. On the scales, ooh, heavier than I thought. Total at 2318. That's about what the 240 weighs, actually. The splits are not terrible. Front left definitely weighs more than the front right. But front rear is less. So let me step in this thing. So 2450, so 2460. Yeah, front left is very heavy. And I only have 4 gallons of fuel in the back, so it's probably going to weigh around 2,500 pounds. That's a lot more than I thought it weighed. It does have 4L80, some heavy steel wheels. That roll cage is pretty heavy too. So, but the split front to rear, let's see, it's about a 50-50 split, really. Well, no. Let's see. 29, that's 59. So it's got 59 in the front. 59.9 in the front. 40 in the rear. So yeah, it's actually, I take that back. It's actually pretty heavy in the front. 59% in the front. So once I add fuel in the back, that should help that weight distribution. So it is definitely a little heavier than I thought. 2316 without the driver. That's with the glass sitting in there. I don't think I have to add anything else. Well, the race tires might add a little bit of weight, but Alright, so I made up a little reservoir, catch can, whatever you want to call it, for the radiator. It's going to bolt on to the side of the radiator right there. Got the little push to connect fittings that will run from the little tank to the I guess little pressure relief spot on the radiator, and then this other little fitting is for a vent. So should have about, I don't know, half a quart or something like that. Should be good enough for a little bit of expansion, so water doesn't go spraying everywhere. I might make another one of these for the transmission vent at some point. I don't know, we'll see. It really wasn't that hard to make. It's just a little piece of 2 3/8 OD pipe, whatever you want to call it. Some aluminum deal. Cut some little caps for it, and then a little flat bar piece for the side. So go ahead and throw this on there, bolt it up, and then everything should be good. Should be 100% with the radiator after that. So everything's looking good. The only issues I am having are with these door handles. Keep having issues with this one in particular. Little mechanism inside keeps falling out of place. That one is fixable. This one over here on the passenger side, it started out where the inside handle wouldn't work, and now the outside handle, the button, it doesn't want to press any farther than that, just won't release. So gotta figure out what the heck's going on with that. Just a few odds and ends things. Gotta get some pins, drill those, and put some bolts on it. I've got another radiator coming like this, another small one. If there's time and I feel like it, I may install it over here. Just to add a little extra insurance, just to make sure this thing's gonna stay cool. Gotta do some copper RTV right here. You can see the exhaust flange leaks a little bit, so I'm sure that's not good for the O2 sensor as far as keeping a nice accurate reading. Interior wise, I think it's pretty much all set. Not really sure what I want to do with the foam and stuff on my side. Caitlin's side, my mom is making a seat cover. I think that's just about wrapped up. So little light switch. For some reason the light on there always stays on instead of it whenever you flip the switch, the light would come on. The light on the actual switch, so it would drain the battery if I left it plugged in. So a few small details left to work out. Yeah, so we're pretty much ready to go with this, minus a top, which still holding out for a top. We'll see how that goes. The trailer is pretty much set up with the tires. I've got to make some little plates to go on the back side to hold the wheel steady. I kind of use like a nut back here, but I think I'm just going to make a little bar that goes all the way across, and then I'll weld that bar to the studs, and then it'll be a nice secure fit from the front, where you just run these bolts down and then it clamps it and tightens it down real good. Also got a tag for the trailer, so that's 100% road legal. Lights tagged, everything. Car is tagged up, insured, everything's ready to go. 100% road legal. So looking pretty good with about 2.5 weeks to spare. Maybe do a little bit of testing with it. Also may try to do something with fender flares. I don't know. I haven't found anything because I need about 4 inches of flare, about 4 inches wide to cover it. About the best I can find out of a plastic deal. Like a cheaper one without spending a bunch of money. About 2 inches wide, so that's just not enough to cover that back tire. But that's all looking pretty good. Okay, just got back from the first real test drive. It was pretty good. Do have some concerns though. Number one, got to get an alignment for this thing. It's kind of wonky, but I mean, that's not even tape measure, that's just eyeballed alignment right now, so I can definitely do better than that. These tires, they are so small. It shifts so hard in second gear. I mean, even barely in the throttle. I'm talking about just like grandpa driving, it shifts really hard. And if you're in it at all, I mean, like trying to just get up to speed, you know, kind of moderately quickly, I mean, it spins the tires in the second gear shift. I mean, pretty good. So that is an issue for street driving for sure. I'm pretty sure it will be undrivable in the rain because the rear end is so light. So that's going to be an issue for sure. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with that. It seemed like it was okay with the radials on it, the drag slicks, but these little tires, they just don't have much grip at all. They spin way too easily, which may be an issue at the track too, because I don't know. You know, you shift second gear and it wants to spin. It's gonna put you pointing at the wall. It's not gonna be good. So definitely gonna have to keep that in mind. I don't know if I want to do any sort of shift retard or anything like that yet. On a sticky track, it might be all right. We are still talking about the regular, you know, asphalt road, which I've never really even driven one of these cars. Now I've driven the 240 on around the streets, but that was a little different because it has the big radials on it, and it's really not that slippery. It is when you get into it, but that's to be expected. Never had a street tire on that car with the power it's making, and it's not crazy light in the rear end. I mean, that's around a 50-50 split, like a 52 on the rear, 48 in the front, something like that. This one is like a 60-40, which is not good. 60 in the front, 40 in the back. I haven't scaled it with all the fuel in it, so that might help it. Getting a couple pounds on there. Plus, we'll be pulling the trailer, so that'll add some weight to the rear while we're just driving down the road. But definitely going to be a little sketchy. Something to get used to for sure. I'm gonna pull the chip on this thing and see what the data log says. There we go. Alright. So let's look at the fuel. I'm gonna look at the learn table. So it's correcting a good bit right through here, especially low vacuum stuff. And I need to get this into PSI. Oops. I don't like this mouse pad. Display PSI. So, it looks like it made a few pounds of boost more than I thought. Probably should put some methanol, some water meth in there. Anyways, so it's not correcting a whole lot here on the top end, which is good. Down there in the vacuum, it's correcting a lot. I'll probably just transfer that. and maybe go for a few other drives and then see kind of what it does and then lock it down, so I don't risk messing up my O2 in case something gets wonky in there. I probably need to do a little driving in better weather, which not a whole lot I can do about that right now until we get down to Florida. Do a little logging on that and then see, you know, kind of how much correction it's doing. All I'm going to be doing is relying on the correction for now. I don't really know how to tune that well, so just going to do it off the O2 sensor. Then once it looks pretty good, I'm just going to lock it down within 5% correction up and down. And then hopefully that'll be good. But I did take a data log of that little drive. So there's the coolant right here. Temperature stays, looks like it stays pretty stable. About 190 on the coolant. So that's not bad. It's, I think my little dash over there, it shows a little bit different than this is showing. It's not a huge deal. Means that my sensor for the dash shows a little bit hotter than it actually is, which is good actually. So 190, and I mean it's cold outside too, so that's not any testament to the cooling system at all. It just means I can hold what the thermostat is rated for. So it doesn't look like I really made any boost at all. The scary thing is, like I said before, even like barely getting into it, not making any boost at all. I mean, I don't know if I ever got over, let's look at TPS and see what the highest TPS was. I guess right here, see, right there, that's only 28% TPS. So, I mean, shifting it like, you know, 15 to 17 TPS, and that spins the tires hitting second gear in dry conditions. Just something to be mindful of. This thing spins the tires a little easier than I would like, but the other thing, the alignment, talk about that. There's a little clanking noise in the rear. I need to just make sure all the nuts and bolts are tight, everything checks out under there. And I did forget that there's a little piece dangling under the steering column that makes a clanking noise. I gotta get that out of there. It's just like an old strap for the column that I'm not using anymore. But besides that, coolant seems like it's staying good. The transmission shifts really well. The only shift that I found was did not feel as good as it should, I think, is fourth gear, which there's always been a problem with fourth gear. But I think it'll be okay during cruising. Just not racing it. So the torque converter on this thing, it's an eBay special. It's, I don't know what to expect from it. It kind of feels like it grabs pretty hard, and it grabs pretty low too. Somewhere around, I think the advertised stall on it is 2200 to 2400, which is stalls that cruising, and then, you know, when you hit the gear, it slams pretty hard, so it's not very forgiving at lower speeds. I don't know how it's going to be at full throttle. I know I did some close to full throttle pulls out here, and it felt like it felt pretty smooth. second gear felt like it was a little smoother whenever you have the power applied to it going down, not the track, but just out here in the parking lot. And you know, it'll be a lot different on a track, so it might work out. But for street driving, this thing is hard to drive as far as not spinning the tires. And with it being so heavy in the front, thing's gonna want to spin around like in a circle. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And it's got a locker. It's locked. It does have a what do you call that? It's a mechanical locker, and it has a slip for turning and stuff like that. So it does clunk. So that might be some of the noise that I'm hearing, is that rear end clunking. But I mean, it's locked. Whenever you hit the throttle, it's locked all the time. So another thing, whenever you're going into corners and stuff like that, when you have a locked diff, I mean, that thing, those wheel speeds want to match inside to outside. That inside spinning a lot slower, wants to spin a lot slower than the outside. But that outside dictates the speed, so you come into a corner, you're going to spin. That inside tire is going to match the outside speed. So I mean, something's got to give, and it's going to be that tire and your traction. So, just got to be careful. That's all. As far as drivability, minus the shifting stuff, it seems okay. It's comfortable to drive. The brakes are a little. I'm having to drive it with 2 feet, which a lot of people do drive race cars with 2 feet, from what I've seen. 2 feet from what I've seen, but I'm not too used to it. So my left foot is not used to like hitting a brake pedal like as hard as it should. Like it's used to like pushing a clutch pedal. So just something to get used to on that. But yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go through everything with a fine-tooth comb and just make sure everything looks like it's going to function properly. Yeah. Try and think of anything else I might need for the trip. Just gotta put some side view mirrors on this thing, and then I think it's 100% after that. I'm probably not gonna do a whole lot more test driving on it or anything like that. I might hook up the trailer to it and just make sure you can pull the trailer with all the weight on it and all that. But I mean, if it can't, then you know you're not going. So it either will or it won't. But pretty hopeful it's coming along. It's been a journey, that's for sure. But yeah.